All good, should be live now. Now, I've made the latency a lot better this time around, so it should, you should be able to read things a lot clearer on the screen, hopefully. It does mean, however, that I'm going to be about 15 to 20 seconds behind. So I may not see the chat like a couple of seconds straight after. Well, I'll see it straight after, but you'll see my video like later. One student had a question here, and I've just brought their project up. So this is their project. Okay, there's no point in copying from it. You won't understand it, but it looks like if I just run it, and if they're watching, can you explain the issue to me? It sounds like, or just give me like the general guide, because I'm not familiar with your game and I don't really want to go through and play everything in here. I'm assuming that if they're watching now, I'll see that. If not, I will just come back to it shortly. So in a little while, I'll come back to this, and if you can explain like the steps I should take to replicate that error, and then I can explain what the issue is, because it is running, so there's no syntax errors in there, and the bit of code that you sent me looked like this part here, or this part, and then this bit here, and it sounds like you can go through the door if you don't have it. So if global gate locked, if current room equals gate and direction equals south and inventory.find key, gate locked equals false, gate.south equals residential area, else print that. If current room equals gate and direction equals south and gate locked equals true, you cannot go this way without a key. If you have one, type use key on gate to open. This should be elif. That's probably what the problem is in there. Whoops, it's going to make a copy of it for me. But this line here should be an elif, because it does this, and it'll probably print you cannot go this way without a key, but it's then doing this anyway. So if you put an elif there, that might fix your problem. Just be aware of that, because it does this if, and then if there's no elif here, it does this if as well. But if you put an elif there, it only does it if that's not true. So that's probably what that problem was. I'll go back to my ones. Where are they? Assessment. There we go. When I have multiple locked doors, funky things start to happen, such as when I open one, I get teleported to another one of the locked rooms, that one being beside one of my locked doors. Okay, you'll have to send me the code, and I can have a look at that. I'm just going to add a little bit more to mine here. So what I should have at the moment is I should be able to, I don't think I can actually get the weapon at the moment. I added a few more things here. I'm going to change this bit here, use key code on lock, to actually make it so they have to type a number in. So this bit here, because some of you have asked for like how to do numbers, and I think the key code for this, the pod code, was 1254. So I will say use key code on lock. Use key code on lock. I'm going to change this here. Def error message print what is the key code. Okay, and then I'll change it here at when 1 2 5 4 type code on lock. Them a little bit of a prompt there, and then it's going to be code here. If code equals 1254, then I will do that. Here a click. Else print it beeps. don't have the correct code. So I can try this now. Yeah, they're all up on YouTube, Alex. They're just go to my channel. I also put them on the Classroom, so they are on the Classroom as well under the bit that says Level 1 videos, and they're all there. So if I go into here and I go west, go south, you're in the escape pod, blah, 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 blah. If I look, there's a keypad here, type code, use key code on lock. Now this is going to get very specific and I might have to think of some other things that I can type there. Whoops. Use key code on lock. What is the key code type code on lock? If I type 1, 2, 3, 4 on lock, it beeps, you don't have the correct code. Type 1, 2, 5, 6 on lock. It beeps, you don't have the correct code. Oops, because it's 1, 2, 5, 4. You're into the code, you hear a click. Go south. Okay, you're in the escape pod. There is a card reader here. I don't remember why I needed a separate card reader. Oh, it's a key card. Okay, so in this one here, I would add in, I'm going to add in a use key card. So at when, and I'll get to the chat in a sec, use key card, or at when swipe key card, def escape print, swipe the key card and the pod ejects, you win. I'm not going to be too creative here. Now, of course, this will let me win the game without actually having the key card if I know the right steps. So I'd have to put something in here, check if player has key card, check if in the escape pod, and I can do all that in one line because currently, if I just do this and run the program, type use key card, you swipe the key card and the pod ejects, you win. Okay, so I need to make sure that I check what's going on. All right, so let's see. Yes, you should use different sections of code, or you could have one that has a whole lot of different conditions in it. And yes, Josiah, you can use item on thing if you want to have like lots of different items used in different ways, or you can just be more specific, like use key card on thing or whatever. Like where have I got it? It's in here, like type code on lock. I could, or use code on lock. So what I could do here, I could actually turn these two things into one and then check to see what they actually typed in here. I'm not going to do that. I think I've made an example already in class probably where that happens. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let's just check my email and see. Yulis, if you email that through to me now, I will cover that. And is Teague in the chat? If Teague is in the chat, then I'll just go back and answer his question. Although I think I answered it at the start anyway. I think it was the if. He's got two ifs instead of an if, elif. So it should be kind of if, elif. In fact, I can probably replicate his error here just by removing that. And if I run this and I type go west and then go south, you are in the escape pod bay. Actually, I can't go south because, yeah, the door is locked. You can't go south. I haven't actually made that connection. That's why I can't go south there. But in Teague's one, I think there is an error. You have already sent it. Let's see. Okay, all right, I got it. If you send me the link, oh, you're using Python. Okay. Let's see. I'll just load it up in here. Give me a sec. Let's copy and paste all this code. Hopefully it pastes properly. And I'll go back to here. And I think this was your one that I kind of copied into here. Okay, so if I hit run, let's see what happens. I'll just go back to the chat so I can see where your issue was. I know you said it in the email. Line 180 to 212. Okay, so kind of in here, let's see, line 180 to 212. This changes the current location when go direction. If current room equals hallway, and inventory.find keyword. All right, I think what the issue is, you should turn all of these more than likely into LFs. I'm pretty sure that will fix it, just because what's going to happen is it's going to check this and it will then do that. If that's not true, but then it checks these things anyway, and eventually it gets down the bottom and it just does this or this. Whereas if you have all the LFs, it's like this, and then if that's not true, then this, if that's not true, then this, and if that's not true, then this, etc., all the way down. I'll demonstrate very quickly why you can't use two ifs. Okay, and I'll just make a new file. I'll just make a completely new little thing here. Oops. Language, Python, that'll do. Okay, I'm gonna kind of think of how to do this. So A equals 10, B equals 20, A plus B equals C equals A plus B. All right, so if A is greater than 10, print A is 10. Now I only want to print one of these statements, so I'll do an elif. If B equals, this is a stupid program, this is not anything you do. B is 20, else print C is I'll just print C in this case. All right, so if I run this now, it's only going to print A is 10. Okay, A is 10, because even though the rest, like B is 20, if B is 20, it only does this first thing, if A is 10. Then it doesn't do any of this other stuff because this condition is met. However, if I change this to do this, if this, it will now print A is 10 and B is 20. And there. Because this is not an else if. Okay, the else only happens, or the elif only happens, if the preceding ifs are not true. So it's kind of a do this or this or this or this. Whereas if I put it like this, I'll change B to 19 now. It'll print A is 10 and C is 29, because it does this if here, prints A is 10, then it does this if, but that if's not true, so then it goes to the else. But if I do this and I say this, if, elif, else, this is going to be false, this is going to be false, so it will do the last one, which is, it'll just print out 19 plus 9. So what's happening here? What's happening here is essentially it's going like this, and I'll just write in non-Python. If door is locked and in the proper room, open the door and you have the key, open the door and go through. Okay, so that's fine. But then you're typing if the exit you want to go through exists, you go through it. And so what's happening is it's going, okay, well, you don't actually have the key, but, well, that exit still exists, so go through it anyway. But if you put the elif in here, and in this case, this isn't the best example, but if you put the elif, it will only check this condition if the top one's not true. So you can do you can do things with that. I hope that kind of helps. Can we use the if, and if to help us if we want options? You can use if a lot. It just depends. It just depends. Sometimes you want to have multiple ifs. So if I go back to my my original one here, maybe I want to print out all of them. So I could print out if C equals 30. And this will just print out all 3 lines, and that's not a problem. It just depends on what the purpose of it is. In fact, it's not printing any. 10, 20. Okay, so it's printing out all 3 there because all 3 of those if statements are true. But what I'm saying is that the elif and the else link together to make like a sequence of instructions and selection events that occur and condition events that occur. So that sequence, selection, conditions, and hopefully that might make a bit more sense. I do need to get ready for the level 2 one now. So once again, if you have questions, please send them through. I may end up just making a simple recording of me finishing off my game and adding stuff in without the pressure of doing it kind of live, because I'm just kind of making stuff up as I go along. At least if I don't do it live, I can kind of prepare a little bit. So I'll finish up there. That's kind of safe to look at later, save to look at later. And if you have questions, Alex, Teague, whoever, just send them through. I'm pretty sure though that the if statements will fix it. I don't know if they did. Yillis, let me know. And Teague as well. And anyone else that has questions, you can send them through. Cool. I'll finish up there. See you later.